Hello YouTubers, what we are going to do today is we are going to do some wood burning with a homemade torch paste, scorch marker kind of mixture, and then make a stencil out of some vinyl. This is a video I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I've had the markers and done all sorts of stuff, but I think I finally come up with a way to get a fairly clean burn. So let me go show you what you need. So this is our homemade paste. We're going to make it with the ammonium chloride and the thicket. I've also added red food coloring in it, or else it would be clear. Any kind of food coloring helps make it a little bit easier to see when it's on the stencil. I'm also going to recommend a sponge brush because we're going to dab. Now, the big problem with a lot of these chemical wood burning processes is that you do this and the process that you made is really liquid and then it bleeds everywhere on your stencil. So that's why I really like being able to chew this way, is this thicket really makes it a thick paste. So you can dab and then it gives you the crisper lines that a lot of the other things can't that are on the market. So I'm a big fan of doing it this way. These guys together are about 20 bucks for the set, delivered from Amazon. I'll leave links down below, but and you can get a lot of mixture out of it. This is my second batch and I've been using it for a couple days. You can still see how much I have left over. The other nice thing is this has been sitting out in my basement for a couple of days, out in the open air, so you don't have to use it all at once. You can use it over a couple of days. And it's nice because 20 bucks will probably get you more than you will ever need. It's not like, you know, $17 for a bottle this big. So, I'm a big fan of this. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, but every other time I've tried to do it, I've gotten results that are really hideous. So, you're also going to need a tablespoon measurement, and we're going to need half a cup of hot water. So, that's what we're going to need. And then I'm going to recommend bamboo. I won't tell you all the trials and tribulations, but I had this other cutting board made out of another wood. I don't know what it was. This has been a nightmare. I'm not going to tell you all my trials and tribulations and cuss words I've laid at it, but just go with bamboo. Bamboo cutting boards. I feel like it's going to give you a much easier, better, easier result than some of the other woods. So bamboo cutting board, this one's from Amazon. I've also ordered some from IKEA. Walmart has one, but it's kind of a little more expensive. But I'll leave a link to where I got this one down below. We're going to make the little cutting boards that you put the meat and cheeses on. I'm going to save everybody the trouble and not try to say this word because it never ends up well. But you know the little boards you put the meat and the cheese and all that stuff on? I've got a whole set of designs that I made for it, so we're going to burn them into some wood. So that, and then we're going to use, we're actually going to use the big easy press 8x8 I have. This is a little mini. Either one will work. The reason why I like this method is the heat guns tend to burn the wood. Of course, I don't have any examples where I've done that over the years, but the heat guns tend to burn the wood because no matter how much you kind of move them, they end up scorching in spots. So I really like the either the easy presses or your actual heat press to do this because it just gives an even coat of heat for this, and you don't have to worry about scorching individual little sections of the wood. You will have different sections because it's wood. So this section is lighter because this piece of wood, for whatever reason, is lighter than this one. So we're also going to need adhesive vinyl. Any color will work. And then I got this scraper off of Amazon. I'm a big fan for this. You're also going to need transfer tape. And you're also going to need a piece of parchment paper to cover up your design when you heat it up. And I think that's it. All right, so one other thing on the cutting boards, this needs to be on bare wood. Or if you do this technique on another kind of wood, it needs to be on bare wood. It can't be on stained wood or sealed wood. It won't work. It needs to come in contact with the wood. Once you get done with this design, you can then stain it if you want to, or seal it. This will work on other kinds of wood. The cutting boards, I do think the bamboo is the easiest, but if you want to do this on ornaments or like the little wood canvases, any of that, this should work, but you would need to seal it afterwards. Also, from everything I've read online, these should be edible. You should be able to wash this and put food on this if you want to. If you don't want to, you can put like plastic down on top of it. But from everything I've read online, they should be edible. Alright, so this is all of the designs. They'll be available on my webpage if you want them. It'll be $3 for the set. We're going to do this one. And I've done file and merged and brought it into Silhouette Studio, and I've grouped this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, and I've just resized this with my corner. Resize it. I want it roughly 7 inches wide, and roughly 3 inches between my two fancy little pieces. I'm honestly winging this and hoping that it fits on my little cutting board. I will say, if you buy the bigger cutting boards, this will be a bit easier. We're going to have to cut this out of adhesive vinyl, and adhesive vinyl is not the easiest thing. So if you're a beginner, it would be much easier if you drew a really big design and put it on a big cutting board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle around my design. The reason I'm going to do that is it's going to give us extra material to help kind of buffer around, so that we don't have to worry about any paste getting out onto our wood. And then you can select both of them. We're going to go to the transform panel, and it's the bullseye, and it'll center our design inside of our rectangle. And then let's just scoot him over here. I'm using I think just regular any adhesive vinyl will work. The cheaper the better, because you're just basically going to cut it, stencil, and then rip it up. So nothing fancy. Scraps work really well for this, but I think this is just regular, like essentially 651, just regular glossy vinyl. So nothing fancy. We do not have to mirror. We're going to come over to the sun panel. If you don't have cut lines, you can select your design and click cut. So that would be no cut, and this would be cut. Vinyl, glossy, we're going to cut. I'm using my ratchet blade because I'm using my Cameo too. Any of the Cameos will do this, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Any of them will cut adhesive vinyl. Now, because this is essentially little and adhesive vinyl, which is tricky to cut, what I've done is we are using my CB09 blade. So I don't actually know, I didn't actually use this setting at all. I'm using my CB09 blade. I have slowed the speed down to 2 because it will make it easier. It'll make it less likely that the machine will pull up any little bits. And the force I've left at 10, 1 pass. And then if you clicked more, I've turned on the line segment overcut. And what that is when it comes to an end of the piece, it'll cut past it a little bit. So, and I bumped this one up to 0.20. So it'll help cut, it'll help eliminate any little extra cutty bits or where the machine starts and stops cutting. It'll cut past it a little bit. So hopefully that will make it a little bit easier to weed everything. And that is what I'm going to do. And then we're just going to send this to cut. So this is a CB09 blade. I'm a big fan. I've got several videos on the channel. What they are, how to set them up, how to use them in the old machines and the new machines. I'm a big fan, especially things like this and glitter. Big fan of these. So I did want to show you in case you didn't know. And then this is our piece of vinyl all cut. And you can make sure you test a piece and pull it up first. If it's not, don't unload it and just send it back through and cut it again. That'll help if it didn't get cut all the way through. And now what we're going to want to do, because we're making a stencil, is actually weed out our design. So basically what you would normally keep, we're just going to peel right out. So nothing really high tech, just peel out your vinyl. Alrighty. So there's our design. So basically, like if you were going to put this on a, I don't know, something else, basically I peeled out everywhere that you normally would leave to make our stencil. And then I'm going to take our transfer tape and I'm going to put this on here. Now, transfer tape, you can't really flinch, you just kind of have to go for it. So, and you just want to make sure you get it on there really flat. And then big scraper. Now I did want to tell you something. We got a lot of little pieces on this, but all of it came out pretty well. But I did want to show you on this one. There's supposed to be more design here, but one of them didn't come through. So instead of cutting the whole design again, I just peeled up the extra pieces. And nobody's gonna know but me, and y'all now, since I told you. So if you do end up with losing some little pieces, you can pop up the rest of them instead of having to cut the whole thing again. It doesn't have to look like exactly like you were going to do it, you know. Little handmade charm, as I like to say. Now, I will tell you before I stick this on this cutting board, it's not gonna want to stick to this bamboo. It's just not. So it's gonna fight. So just keep that in mind. Oh, you can also do like the hinge method, where you tape it and then you flip it and do all that stuff. I just kind of personally like to put it and pray. And the reason I really don't like the hinge method for this is not going to want to stick. So, it's not going to want to stick. So if you do the hinge where you tape it in the middle and you're peeling this part, you're going to be fighting with it a lot. Also, this little cutting board, this is a cheap little cutting board from Amazon, not going to lie. Because I did the design on the back, it's now bowed. So, keep that in mind when you are buying your cutting boards. Like I said, it doesn't really want to stick. It's a pain. So, what I'm going to do is take a piece of paper and my scraper again and just scrape again just to really help seal down any edges, because you don't want any bleed. So you really, really, really want to make sure that this is nice and secure. Now we are going to go mix up another batch of our little torchy paste burn cream. Alright, so I'm going to mix up my little concoction in a plastic container with a lid. I'm pretty sure you can keep it for a couple of days as long as it stays goopy. It should work, so you can mix it up and then have it for a couple of days. So this is a tablespoon. So we're going to do 2 heaping tablespoons of thicket. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of the ammonium chloride. Now what I like to do before I add my water is to stir it all together and get rid of any of the lumps from the ammonium chloride. It's really hard to do that once you start adding water to this. So stir, but see these little lumps? You're just going to want to get rid of them or break them up. Alright, so this is my hot water. It's half a cup of it. But what I like to do is just stir in a little and then check for consistency. The first batch I just dumped in like a cup of water and it was a little wetter than I would have liked for it to be. So I just pour it in and then check for consistency and stir. I normally use almost half a cup of water, but not all of it. And see, like that's a little too thick, so a little bit more. Alrighty, so that's pretty much the consistency. I like it. It's fairly thick but spreadable. This is totally a you thing. The water is just to mix it up, so you can mix it to any consistency that you want. If you want it really, really runny, go for it. If you want a thick paste, go for it. Now you can add food coloring if you want to. This is some questionably old food coloring from my kitchen. But as you can see, it's clear otherwise, so that's up to you. All right, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your goop and we are gonna dab. So you're gonna wanna dab because you're less likely to pick up any of the little tiny pieces in here. Dab. More is not better. More is just more. So just dab. Now you can also add painter's tape around the edge, which I should have done, to kind of help ensure that you don't get any of your goop on your exposed wood. Alright, so now we are gooped. What I like to do is let this sit for a couple minutes, and then we're going to come back in here with a paper towel and take off the extra. Because like you can't use the easy presses until this is dry, and it's never going to dry like this. So I like to let it sit for a minute like this, a couple minutes, and then we're going to come back in with a paper towel, dab again and get the extra off, and then we're going to go heat it. Alright, so it's been a couple minutes. I just used some paper towels and just more dabbing to try to get as much off as you can. And then you're going to wait for it to dry. Alright, so all of our goop is off. And you're just going to wait until it's dry. It needs to be dry to the touch so that when you go to heat it up and it burns, you're not like moving around wet, goopy paste. Alrighty, so this is now completely dry to the touch. And we're just going to unceremoniously peel this guy off. Try to peel off as much as you can in one piece so that you don't have to go back in and individually peel off all the little pieces. And then peel some of it off. You can see, hopefully, there's a faint mark where our design is. So, and it's a little bit raised on this board, but that's it. So we're going to peel the rest of this off. I've turned on the big 8x8 easy press on to just 400 degrees. It's not going to have a time set on it. So, alright, so here is our cutting board. And then you see where it's a little stained from our goop. And then this is a piece of parchment paper. You're going to want to make sure that your design is covered so that you don't get it on your heat press or your easy press or whatever. You also want to make sure that you always have a clean piece of parchment paper over your design, because if not, it can redeposit where you've already burned it. It can redeposit it on your design. I have this guy set for 400 degrees. Technically it's set, and I haven't set a timer for it. We're just gonna let it sit, and you're just gonna want to kind of turn it, because you don't want it to sit and just absolutely get to burn one spot. And then you're going to want to take it up, and you can see where we already are starting to burn. And keep in mind with these easy presses that sometimes they have, so like this easy press in particular is a little bit colder in, this easy press in particular is colder in the corners, and it's probably warmer in the middle. It's not evenly, so you're going to want to move it around so that you're not just cooking one spot. And basically move it around until you get a design that you want. See, so the more we move it around, the darker the design's going to get. Alright, so I wanted to show you this too. So my design here is getting kind of as dark as I want it to, but this still needs to be darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my little Easy Press Mini. And then we can just heat up specific spots that I want without having to heat up other spots and make them darker. This guy's really uneven in heating, which is kind of problematic for this, so, or it can be problematic. So you can take the little Easy Press Mini and come back in here on areas where you just want a little bit darker. You also could use the Easy Press Mini for this whole design if you wanted to. But basically heat and check until you get it to look like you want it to look. The longer and hotter that it gets, the darker that it will get. So if you want a faint design, you need to just hit it really quick. If you want a really dark design, you hold it in its spot for a minute to help make it darker. Alrighty. How cool is this? This is our finished piece. I went back in with that little Easy Press Mini and darkened in some of the other pieces. Just to make it look a little more uniformed. It's not going to be 100% because it is wood. So like there's some lighter pieces up here because it's a different piece. But anyway, I love this because I have wanted to do some wood burning thing for like years now. This gives you fairly crisp lines. Normally, any other time I've tried this, it has been some hot mess of pink blood. Nothing you would want to show anybody or be proud of. This I really, really like. This will work on any other kind of wood. And these should be, once you wash them, from everything I read online, you should be able to wash them and put food on top of them. If you don't want to, you can try plastic or something like that, plastic wrap. Also, I wanted to show you a couple things. This is from where, when I wiped, I got some on my edge. So put painter's tape. Unlike me, put painter's tape on it. So here and here, both some little handmade charm. Also, I did want to show you, this is my second board. I had to go order another one from Amazon. I totally screwed up the first one. This is the first one that I showed you with the design on the back. Now, what happened here is I'm pretty sure I didn't have this dry enough when I went to go heat it with the parchment paper. And then when the parchment paper moved around, it deposited our goop and other places on the board. So don't do that. This is more where I should have put painter's tape. So I didn't want to confess that I'd screwed up, but that's why, and that's what happened. So don't do that. Also, this little board had warped pretty badly when I had done this one. So it was pretty bowed up, but today it's pretty flat again. So you could totally do a design on the front and on the back, but what I would recommend, so you could do like a horizontal one and a vertical one. But what I would recommend is doing like one design on one side, letting this sit for a couple of days and calming back down, and the design on the other side. I think you'll probably end up with a better result and less like fighting with the wood trying to bow on you. So, but I enjoy this. Maybe we'll do something else with this. I don't know. I love this. Totally not gonna lie. Everybody's probably getting a board for Christmas. These I think are about 10 bucks. Over at Amazon, and you could personalize the bejesus out of this. It looks professionally done. I'm in love. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, and I will be back with another video soon. Thank you so much for watching.